think it's hugely significant for people to both enjoy exercise and the outdoors and their body, and to have control over their personal finances. Exercise can provide emotional regulatory benefits, is healthy for you long term, is generally extremely inexpensive, and is something that you can do really easily with other people and spend quality time with them. And also in the realm of money, having a plan for your money and knowing what it's doing and how to handle it is a massive peace of mind boost. And I think that it's really significant for people to be able to have that peace of mind and not have that stress. And that's something that's available to virtually everybody. That's not something that you have to make a ton of money or have a lot of wealth to experience. You can have peace of mind a lot sooner than that, and currently, despite your net worth or your income. Historically, financial literacy has been sort of passed down from inner circle to inner circle. And what that's meant is, at least in my mind, I don't have any research about this, that people who aren't in that inner circle don't get the knowledge. You have no way to learn those things outside of doing a lot of work to seek them out yourself. And so if you're somebody who is a minority, a woman, an immigrant, or just someone who doesn't fit into the established mold of what this upper echelon of society has meant, then you don't get in on all of the secrets. People don't wrap their arm around you and teach you how to do this stuff until now, until the internet, and until a lot more equality has come for a lot more people, and this kind of information is available. And so what I still see are people that have come from backgrounds where they don't have that knowledge. They don't have that passing down of information from their family or from other people that they know. A lot of times I would say that socioeconomic circles in a community actually stay pretty insulated to a lot of the knowledge that would help people to elevate themselves in those ways. And so that's part of my goal with not just having conversations in person with people that I know, but producing this content outside in the woods. Hopefully it's less boring than other content, but producing this content out here for anyone who's willing to watch is to take the things that I've learned from my own research and from my own conversations with people and share that with anybody who's willing to watch and listen for free, because I think it's actually a matter of justice being done to do that. So in a sense, if your family or your peers or your socioeconomic group or whoever has not yet been able to share financial information with you, then I hope you can see that people that are on YouTube or in forums or otherwise in some capacity that you can reach for free or nearly free, now that it's 2019, can be sort of a new set of online peers and community for you that can answer some questions, that can provide you with information that you otherwise wouldn't have, and to help you to learn the things you need to learn, to not repeat past habits that were partially your family or socioeconomic group's fault and partially not their fault. But that's an exciting thing to me, is if we can come together and share the information that we need to lift each other up, then we can break some of those cycles of unhealthy living and unhealthy financial practices and give everyone an opportunity to live a healthier, less stressed, longer, higher quality of life and wealthier life all along the way. So I've noticed that a lot of what we learn about in life is just something that we absorb from our environment growing up. And so I think that our physical health, eating habits, exercise habits, and also the way we think about money and what we believe about how money works, who gets it, what it's for, all of this stuff can be absorbed by the people around us as we're growing up. So I would think that from childhood years into your teenage years and into your young adult years, we just sort of like everything else in life, you just think this is reality. You think that what you see your grandparents doing with their money is just what people do because they're the people that raised you and you understand them and that's what you do. Or you see that your family always exercises. Everyone has a bike. We all go on trips. We ride bikes. That's just what people do, and it becomes your norm. And the problem is, I think that if we grow up with a norm that isn't healthy or isn't really handling money as well as it could, then we can get stuck in that norm. And if it's not that, that's option number one, is we grow up with a certain environment that teaches us about exercise and about personal finances, and we keep that and we absorb that, and we don't really look to learn and grow on our own. Option number two is we grow up with an environment that we know isn't right, or we know isn't healthy. We know there's something there that's not the way it should be, and so we vow to not do that. Well, I don't want to be like my parents. My parents are terrible with money. Or I don't want to be like my uncle and aunt because they're so unhealthy. They have all these health problems and they're only in their early 40s. What's the deal with that? But then the problem is that we establish who we don't want to be or how we don't want to act, but we're not as good at establishing what we do want to do, right? So it's one thing to avoid certain habits, but you still have to make a decision to then choose other habits. So you can't just not eat anything because you don't want to eat junk food. You have to then choose what you will eat, or what you will do physically, or what you will do with your money. And so it's not, I would wager to say that it's not enough to just decide to not do what your parents did or what your peers are doing. You actually have to decide for yourself what you will do. And so that's a much bigger step, I think, and is a lot more difficult to narrow down. What are your goals reasonably within the amount of time you have, with the income you have, with the time you have for your physical well-being, with the resources you have? It's a much more difficult task to say, okay, within these boundaries of my life, I will do this, working towards this. So what I hope to do is to provide some information and to close some of those gaps that maybe you haven't had filled yet. So you know you don't want to do X and Y. You want to end up over here, which feels like a good place, but you don't know how to get there. Maybe you don't know yet how to budget, or how to start running, or how to start investing, or even if you did invest, what do you invest in, right? And I think there's a lot of opinion floating around about things you shouldn't do, and people can be very polarized in absolutes. Just do this, just do that. And so everything that I'm going to suggest is pretty basic. It's pretty simple, and it's hopefully something that you can do reliably over a long period of time, because I think that's the healthiest mode of change for us as people. As a species, we don't generally have a huge amount of change happen really quickly and then are able to stay with it. So I see a lot of people either not want to change because they think that change means changing everything really fast, and that's scary and weird, or people will change fast, but then it's not a sustainable change. Let's go on this crash diet. I'm only going to eat 1,500 calories a day. I'm going to work out 5 times a week. I'm going to get these great results. I'm going to get these shots. I'm going to do whatever. And we stick with it for 3 months, and then we fall off the wagon. And so hopefully this middle of the road kind of slow and steady pace of things that I suggest are something that they're things that feel sustainable. They're things that make sense. They're things that are sort of at a baseline level and not so extreme that you can follow along and understand, okay, these are the first few steps. And I think that can be the hardest thing to really understand, is to go from not doing a thing at all to doing a thing is often the hardest. And then once you're doing it, you kind of realize, oh, I can figure this out. You don't exercise at all. You barely start exercising. It becomes enough of a habit that you're doing it maybe 3 times a week. And then you go, okay, I can take this on my own now, and I can decide that I want to go run that race, or I can decide that I want to do this kind of exercise, because it's not so scary. It's not this mystery. And I feel like it's something that's for me now, right? You belong. Okay, I think the reality is that unless you hire someone, people are pretty unwilling or unable to teach you the basics of fitness and money. And that's a shame because it's something that we all need to do a good job of taking care of, our financial resources and our physical bodies. We only get one chance at living. We only get to take care of our family at this moment in time once. We only get to have one body. So we should work hard to take care of it and to do a good job with it. Basically what's happened is I've decided that the world of physical fitness, basically the world of exercise and learning enough to take care of yourself is super important, and want to encourage and motivate people to do that. And the other thing is that there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of tiptoeing around the world of money, right? So it's somehow not okay to talk to people about their money, about their budget, about how much their house costs, whatever. Money's just a touchy subject. I think it's touchy largely because we value money as a reflection of your worth and your identity way too much. And that's not the ultimate test of what you're worth, but we kind of act like it is, or we act at least like if you're not making a ton of money, then you're not that worthwhile. And that's bull too. And that's just not true. And so what I hope to do here is to create an environment of openness to confront some basic topics so that somebody who maybe didn't have a great example growing up of how to take care of their body or their money or whatever has some first steps, so you know how to start, you know the basics of getting off on the right foot, literally or physically or metaphorically, and you kind of know where to start. So what's happened in my life is I end up having these conversations with people in real life that I know, that are family or friends, sometimes people I've known for a long time, sometimes coworkers, and I find out that we all have issues and questions and we're not talking about it. And that really bugs me because we're right here amongst each other and somehow we can't share that we have these questions about our finances. Or we're right here working near each other and feel like somehow we don't know how to take steps in a healthy direction, or that we're not somehow qualified, or we don't belong in a fitness environment because we're out of shape. So why should I think about working out? Why should I think about going to a gym? Look at me, I'm so out of shape. Like, we can tell ourselves these weird stories about whether or not we belong in a conversation or belong to even approach some subject. Like, I think what we do a lot of times is we disqualify ourselves. So we think that, oh, well, I don't make a lot of money and I don't know what to do with it. And so I'm sort of doomed to not have a lot of money or whatever. But anyway, long story long, I've started having conversations with people in real life about fitness, just general, basically encouraging people to participate in something that is exercise related. And I'm finding that I really care about doing that, and I'm finding that the basics work. Participating in any kind of physical activity is always better than not participating at all. What I'm hoping to do is to take some of the sort of conversations and things I'm experiencing in person and put them online out into the ether for anyone to see, and hopefully be a little bit more motivated to do something physical, something healthy, and to know that you don't have to be some buff dude. You don't have to be that strong chick. You don't have to have a flat tummy to belong in this conversation, to belong in that gym, to belong in that store where they sell the fitness clothes. Like, you belong. You're breathing. You're human. You belong. Simple as that. Everyone has a right to experience life in a full and whole way. And I think that exercising our bodies helps us to do that, and not exercising our bodies hinders us in that process. We are limited. We're not able to go and move and see and experience life in the same way. So we should all encourage each other to go. Let's be as healthy as we can. The other thing I've noticed is that I'm having more and more financial conversations with people, like personal finance conversations, and they're very fruitful in that we can discuss pretty openly the kinds of things we have questions about or ideas about, and fill in gaps for each other. And it's not about comparing salaries or how much do you have invested, or like there are no contests involved in the kinds of conversations that I'm having. I think the real benefits are the openness that we can share, that we each have questions and we are each on our own journey that's specific to where we've come from and our needs and our past decisions, and we can move in a positive direction together. And I guess I want to have those kinds of conversations with people on the internet. That sounds weird to say, but what I really want is for there to be enough openness that people can ask what they might think are stupid questions and get good answers and grow from that. So if the conversations I'm having in person about fitness and money are fruitful and worthwhile and life-giving and fill in gaps about what we don't know and should know, or when we're lacking motivation or encouragement, it can provide that encouragement, then why would I not want to share that with the rest of the world? Like, I want you, whoever you are watching this, to know that you belong, that you can be healthy, that you can manage your money well, you can be less stressed about money, and hopefully through exercise relieve even more stress. And I think that's just for everybody. And so maybe this is a weird, awkward online pipe dream to put information into the ether, but I'm gonna try it.